Hi, Tam here. Here's an interesting story. Back when I was in my final year of medical school, that was in the year 2000. No. It was 2001. That was September 11. I remember September 11 happened. I was doing a psychiatry rotation, 2001. That's right. So in 2001, during my final year of medical school, I was doing a rotation in internal medicine. We were in the ward, in the internal medicine ward, and we were very sick patients. One of the patients was an HIV positive man with full-blown AIDS who was moribund, physically completely wasted, couldn't speak. I mean, he was on his deathbed. I think this man was about 6 feet tall and not more than, at most, perhaps 40 kilograms. So just so that you understand how sick this patient was, his CD4 count was in the 1 digit. He had a CD4 count of 9. He couldn't speak anymore, couldn't eat anything, couldn't drink anything because he had massive esophageal candidiasis. So, we're feeding him with a nasogastric tube. It was just a terrible situation, a terrible and unfortunate situation for him. The time was around it was quite late. I would say it was around 10 p.m. at night. So we're there in the ward, and there is this intern. This intern has been tasked by his more senior doctors to take blood from this patient and run some tests, right? So he took a syringe, big syringe, like it was 20 mils, and then drew some blood. Now, while he's drawing the blood from the patient, he's telling a story. He's telling all of us students, final year students, a story. So he's saying, and then this is what happened, and this and that. So he takes the blood out, pulls the syringe and needle out of the patient's body, veins, and then tells the story and then moves around with his syringe, with the syringe in his hand, and says, it was like that, and then next thing, I went there, and when he did that, I was standing just behind him on his right-hand side. So he says, and then, so as he does that, with that needle, he was going to stab me in the neck. So I reacted quickly, and I was like, wow! And he stabbed me in the hand. I didn't get pricked in the hand. I got stabbed in the hand, meaning that needle went deep, that hypodermic needle went deep into my hand. So it went in, and I was like, shit! And I thought, fuck. What did you do, man? Everybody froze. All my brothers in arms froze. Nobody knew what to say. So I thought, fuck. And I disappeared, went to the sink, started pressing the blood out as much as I could, rinse it with water, rinse my hand with water, kept on pressing and trying to extract as much blood as I could out, and wrapped it up. And then I immediately reported this, So there was an office in hospital. So it's 10 o'clock at night. I was thinking, this is it. This is it for me, man. Here I am, a young doctor in my final year of medical school. I'm not even a qualified doctor yet. And this guy has just done that to me. I spoke to one of the senior doctors. He told me, go immediately to that office there, the occupational health office. There'll be an occupational doctor. It's a woman, she'll take care of you. She's on tonight. I went there. She She wasn't there at the time because at 10 o'clock at night, there's no need for her to be there. But she got called immediately, and then she came quickly. It was very fast, so she came quickly, you know. She drove in, she came in. She saw me there, she saw I was agitated, a bit distressed, disillusioned, you know. And she said, no, don't worry, it happens all the time, you know. Lots of doctors get pricked every day. So she took my details and then she put my name in a log. It was a log for the doctors that got pricked that month. I looked at the log, I couldn't believe it. And I said, these are all the people that got pricked, like needle prick injuries for this month. And that's like the beginning of the month. There's about 100 people here. I said, yeah, you know, I mean, look, it's a huge, massive academic hospitals. People get pricked or prick themselves all the time. So I thought, wow, man, that's when I realized for the first time in my life that, you know, in my budding career, that, you know, medicine is a seriously dangerous business. Anyway, we ran through everything. You know, she told me she was going to do an HIV test on me as is protocol. She was also going to test me for other diseases, hepatitis. There was a long list of diseases that she was going to do. I mean, it's a lot of blood they were going to take from me, you know. So all the blood was taken from me. I had taken blood from the patient as well as his protocol. And I gave the patient's specimen and my own specimen to the lady, and then she sorted it out. She sent it to the lab. She gave me a prophylactic pack of antiretroviral. It wasn't like today when you have Combivir and other combinations. No, it was AZT, they were hard medications. And quite a bit. And I had to take all of them every day for 30 days, you know. I was devastated, right? Before I even left the hospital to go back to my room, you know, at university, right? While I was still in hospital, I called my father. My father was a surgeon, an abdominal and trauma surgeon, right? And at the time, by the time everything was done, it was already about 11 p.m. or something like that. So I gave him a call and I told him, Dad, look, man, I explained the story, man. You know, this and that happened, and I've been basically stabbed in the hand, not pricked. It was more of a stab wound in the hand with this patient that's moribund, HIV positive on his deathbed. CD4 count is 9, viral load is extremely high, and you know, I mean, my father, you could hear in my voice that I was really down. So, you know, he cheered me up a bit, you know. He laughed a bit on the phone and said, come on, don't worry, you'll be fine, you know. Doctors get pricked all the time. And then he told me, you know what, I've got pricked plenty of times. I've been pricked plenty of times and I'm still all right, so you'll be fine. And I told him, you sure? He said, yeah, don't worry. I said, yeah, but this is a bit different, right? Because you're talking about suturing needles. You know, I'm talking about a hollow needle, a hypodermic needle. When you get pricked with one of those, that hollow space, the blood fills in and then it goes into your body, right? So chances of me having gotten the virus and having HIV right now, I mean, chances are very high, right? He said, no, don't worry. I mean, yeah, I've been pricked with hypodermic needles as well. You know, it happens. You'll be fine. Don't worry, you'll be fine. You know, so I talked to my father for quite a long time, actually, you know, and he tried to cheer me up to you know, he did a good job, actually, you know. He told me that, don't worry, you'll be okay, you know, it's no big deal. This is going to happen over and over and over again in your medical career. You know, you'll get used to it. So I said, all right. I went back to my room. The following day, I went to the lab to get my results. I arrived there, gave my name. I had been to that lab counter hundreds of times because, as students, you go up and down the lab dropping results and this and that. So I'd been there many, many times, but this time it was a bit different because I was there to get my own results. So I got there, looked at the lady, I said, my name is Tam. That's my student number. I got this needle stick injury yesterday and I'm here for my results. That woman goes through the results on the computer. And then I can see her facial expression changes a bit. And she checks again. And I said, everything all right? And she doesn't answer me. She checks. She's writing something, piece of paper, she checks again. And then she calls someone. Hey, can you come over here? Another lady comes, looks at the results, checks again, checks something else. And now I'm ready to collapse here. I'm thinking, this is it. I knew it. And then they both look at me, and then the one that was more senior says, listen, hang on a minute, we need to verify something. So she calls the professor of virology in my medical school, right? He had a Greek name. I don't want to mention his name, So she calls him, and then she tells me, listen, you need to go and see Prof in his office. He's waiting for you. I said, but why? Why? Just give me my results. I said, no, you go and see Prof. Prof will talk to you. I said, but I don't understand. Why can't you just give me my results? Come on, just give me my results. I've had the pre-counseling and all that stuff. No matter what it is, just give it to me. I said, please go see Prof. I'll go see Prof. I knew him because he had taught me before. He had taught me virology before. But now I was seeing him for a different case. It's not far. His office, that's close to the lab. It's a 2 minutes walk from the lab. But that 2 minutes walk was so heavy in my legs, man. I took that walk, I felt like I was climbing a mountain. My legs were so heavy, man. And I reached the door was open. He said, hey, come in. I came in there. He said, please sit down. I sat down. My heart was already sunk. And he says, listen, I know what happened to you yesterday night. We ran some tests and the results. I'm just going to tell you exactly what happened. Your result, unfortunately, has come to give me some numbers. The number is supposed to be between 0.1 and point this, and the derivative of this, if you look at the curve, going to the right, is supposed to be not more than 0.6. We can accept a 0.7 deviation, blah, 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 blah. I could not even hear that. I was like, all these numbers, curves, deviations, I was not even hearing anything. And at the end, he said, so your result is this. This is the number I got. I said, Prof, what does that mean? He said, it means that your result is positive. I said, I am positive? I said, yeah. He said, but did you double check? I said, yeah. Because it's you. We double checked it, we triple checked it, and it's came back the same 3 times over. What else is there to say? Stood up. I said, thank you. And I left. I went back to my room. Did not have lunch, first of all. Did not have breakfast in the morning. Did not have dinner. Locked myself in. I was just meditating, thinking about my life. The following day, no breakfast again. Like I didn't eat for 2 days. I just couldn't eat. So for 2 days, 2 days and a half actually, I just couldn't eat. No appetite. I couldn't take anything in my stomach, you know. So I took the medication. I was taking that medication on an empty stomach for 3 days. I was taking the medication. I was feeling sick. I was having cramps in my stomach. My energy was low. I was having headaches as well. I was feeling a little bit dizzy, and I thought, no, man, I'm gonna deteriorate. Okay, I got these results. I need to pick myself up, and life must go on. So after 3 days, I picked myself up, and I said, life must go on. You know, I have to pick myself up. I have to come back from this. I started now thinking, how is it possible that I got HIV so fast? Isn't there a window period? I went back to Prof and I spoke to Prof and I said, but there's supposed to be a window period. At the time in 2001, the window period was up to 3 months for your ELISA test to definitely be positive. But he said that, you know, my ELISA test was positive times 3. How would I be positive so fast? The virus has to multiply. So I thought, but how is it possible? It means that, you know, I've been HIV positive for at least 3 months already for it to be detected now. I'm not positive because of what happens now, because usually, you know, if you're negative, I mean, back in 2001, if you're negative, then, you know, you have to wait for that 3 months window period and test again. You can be pricked last night, and then the following day in the afternoon, they confirm that, yes, you got HIV because of that needle prick. So I started putting one and one together, thinking about this. And then I thought, okay, I'm in my final year. All I do is study, sleep, study, sleep. I haven't been sexually active this entire year. I haven't been sexually active since my last HIV test. So I haven't been, since my last negative test, I haven't been sexually active. I haven't received a blood transfusion. I haven't had a needle stick injury. How is it possible? So I went back to Prof and I asked all these questions. I went back to the lab and I arrived there and I said, listen, I mean, you know, you remember me, I did the test. Yeah. You know, I said, listen, I need to have the blood results of my patient. Oh, the patient, the sample, yes, because we gave you 2 samples, my sample and the patient's sample. And I need to know his results. And I am the treating doctor. This is my patient, actually. I'm in that rotation, so I need to know the result. She went back on the computer. She looked and said, is HIV negative? I said, no, wait. Can I have a report? She printed the report. Blood tested same time, same hour as mine. Oh, I don't know, same hour, but same day. Serology test, ELISA test, negative. That was the answer. I thought, come on. This guy is This guy has got fulminant AIDS, CD4 count of 9. How can he be HIV negative? So that's what I asked the lady. How can this guy be HIV negative? He's admitted in hospital because of complications of AIDS. He's semi-conscious. How can he be negative? Can you run that number again? I just want the number, and then if you could please take that number and then match it with the tube number. Do you still have the specimen? I said, yeah, we still have the label. They checked. Somebody in the lab had taken my tube, the patient's tube, run the test, and then take the labels, and then probably was distracted. Well, not probably, was distracted, and then put them the other way around. Put my name on the patient's number, put the patient's name on my specimen number. I got the patient's results, the patient got my results. I thought, again, there were so many different emotions at the same time. I was upset. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was happy. I was relieved. Pain. Joy. Anger. Happiness. I was like, and I just left. When I walked out of the lab, it's like it was a different planet, man. I walked out, it was bright, it was sunny. I looked at the plants, the trees, the leaves, the people, completely differently. It felt like I was reborn. So I wasn't out of the woods yet because, I'm negative, but still, there's a window period, so I could still be positive, right? So I felt good at that moment, but after some few hours, I came down to my normal state because I realized that I could still be having the virus, and let's wait for that 3 months window period back in 2001. So I had no confidence in the hospital lab. So I left some few days later, got tested in town in a private lab, got a negative result, non-reactive. I thought, okay. A month later, got tested again. Although the window period at the time was 3 months, got tested again, I was negative. At 2 months, I got tested again, I was negative. And at 3 months, negative. I tested again at 4 months, at 5 months, at 6 months, at 7 months, at 8 months, negative. At 9 months, at 10 months, at 11 months, at 12 months, a year later. Still, I was testing every month. And I was negative every month for a year. And I thought, this is it. That was a difficult time in my life. Somebody got distracted. They gave me the wrong results. And if I had been a patient, you see, that's the lesson I'm taking for this. When you do your job, you have to be serious about your job, man. We're dealing with people's lives. If I had been a patient, they would have given me that result. That's the end of it. No need to wait for a window period. You're positive already, so it means you had contracted HIV before this incident. And, back in 2001, you don't know what somebody could have done. They could have gone into a severe depression, killed themselves, whatever, Some people are not so strong mentally. It's important to be competent and not to mess around when you have a job to do. An important job. Every job is important. You were distracted there telling your girl a story, you made a mistake with the labels, you put the wrong sticker to the wrong name, and you can change somebody's life. 20 years later, we're now in 2021. My father is no longer alive, but just like he said, I had pricked myself, or I had been pricked many, many more times since that event back in 2001. And today, 2021, I'm still negative. Cheers. Because most of these women, 99% of these women, have no social skills. They are not conversationalists. They've got zero social skills, zero conversation skills. They cannot talk about anything interesting.